Hello, I'm Kate Shane and this is Maureen Shane.
Hi everyone.
We've been asked to speak at this year's Encephalitis Alliance conference about Maureen's experience of being diagnosed with encephalitis and the path following that, and my experience as her support and advocate. I don't use the term carer because she is quite able to take care of herself. So we're just going to give you a little bit of information about what happened and what helped. So off you go, Maureen.
Thanks, Katie. Firstly, a big thank you to the Encephalitis Alliance for inviting us to talk today. The work that you all do is fabulous. Keep it up. In 2013, I had shingles, the normal symptoms of the shocking rash and pain. That subsided quite nicely in 3 weeks, but following that I had symptoms that really didn't relate to shingles. I had memory problems, word finding, still have that, cold feet, loss of power and strength in my arms, and as a fitness trainer that was quite worrying. I had muscle weakness as well. So I attended a local neurologist, to investigate this. I was admitted to hospital in August, symptoms still getting worse. I had a treatment, and after that treatment, the encephalitis, the acute phase started, which was quite worrying for me and also for Kate. After treatment under this neurologist, the outcome and diagnosis at that point was that it was all psychological, which is probably something that a few of you out there have experienced as well. It took 6 months for a diagnosis to happen, and this was after we went under the care of a neurologist, a viro-neurologist at one of our major teaching hospitals and research hospitals in Sydney, Australia. That's how it felt for me, but I think it's important for us to have the viewpoint of our loved ones and carers and advocates of how they felt at that point too. How was it for you, Katie Pye?
It was difficult because Maureen was such a capable person and so able to do whatever she put her mind to. She, in recent times, started a business, a fitness business, and she was overwhelmed with response, and she was doing hours and hours of face-to-face, and having a background in health science was absolutely the selling point of her services. So to see someone who our next door neighbour described as the fittest person in the town become suddenly unable to hold things, unable to think, finding it difficult to walk, and not getting anywhere with a diagnosis was very, very distressing.
Wasn't it for you?
It was extremely distressing. In the meantime, I'm going off to work and hoping that all is okay. And the other thing I found was I needed to be in those appointments with her, with the medical people, because not all of it was going in for Maureen. And also statements like, perhaps it's psychological. I was so angry with that person that I contacted a very good friend of mine, a medical professional, who then contacted a person who was a very good diagnostic general practitioner, and we were very, very lucky to be able to get in. So I guess using networks is what it's about if you're lucky enough to have them. But it's quite worrying, and it's really a difficult balance of knowing when to step in, not taking over the balance for my need for caring and Maureen's need for self-sufficiency, because you don't want to undermine their confidence in what they can and can't do at that point or at any point in the process. So I think one of the hardest things was realising that this was not going to resolve and that this is going to be a very long-term thing, and supporting Maureen during that process of coming to the realisation that the life that she knew before had completely changed, and there wasn't any indication of what the road back to normalcy was.
Yes.
So that was very hard.
Yeah.
The other things in terms of keeping life ticking over and the financial considerations during that time, which depends on where you live, what your job is, what medical services your country has. It's not a lot of point in going into the details of our situation because,
No.
but it is important if you can afford a financial advisor as the carer. And I know that there's a lot of not-for-profits all over the world that help with financial support and advice on what to do. Seek it out. It might not be the first thing on your mind, but you'll be so glad in the long run that you've actually got some support in that way.
Yeah.
So it was, what helped you?
I think what happened next was the diagnosis, really, wasn't it? I think, as Kate said, moving forward, for me, getting the diagnosis, it was such a relief. I wasn't crazy, and I don't mind if I am, you know. But having a diagnosis, because it gave us a direction then to know what condition was. You know, encephalitis is the outcome for me of a viral infection. And during my stay in hospital, and this I hope all the health professionals out there are listening, I didn't once receive any information about encephalitis. And it wasn't after I got out of hospital that I actually it dawned on me that this would lead to an acquired brain injury. The biggest help for me in those early days was my contact with encephalitis organisations in England and in America, to have people who had been through the experience, had a listening ear and a real genuine concern for me and my situation, and that just made the world of difference.
The resources that were available from Encephalitis Society in England, particularly because that was the one we first went to, were invaluable.
Yep.
And I would say that the resources now are far greater than they were then. And this is coming from the point of view from someone like Maureen, who had postgraduate qualifications in health science. So if we were struggling, you know, if you don't know anything about the health system, you don't know the language that they use, the terminology that they use, I would say it would be utterly bewildering. We are just very fortunate that we have been exposed to the medical system here through looking after our parents and negotiating that, and also with Maureen's experience with health science and understanding how the body works and why hers wasn't working.
Yeah, that's right. So the first 2 years, a lot of effort went into, I was the job. My work was getting myself as well as I could, and that included doing speech therapy, physio, hydrotherapy. I went back and did art again, which I'd studied, going to counselling. I went to falls prevention programs. I lost my licence because I couldn't drive, so I had to negotiate getting mobility aids and a mobility scooter, which was a godsend. And we did lots of other things in that time too. We had to make a big decision about our lifestyle, where we would live. I had to give up work. Kate had to give up work. But as it turns out, our current situation, thanks to all the hard work this girl did, it's quite okay. And I just want to say to everyone out there, it does get better. It does improve. We've done some fabulous things over the years, travelling and changing our lives. I think the couple of important things to finish with is practical things. Make sure you keep copies of all your medical reports. Make sure you keep copies of all your scans and x-rays. They're your scans and x-rays, not the doctor's. Keep a chronological record of all your visits to different practitioners. have a list of all their names, addresses and phone numbers. Keep that in your wallet, and in your family's members have a copy. Keep a summary of all your medications as well. And keep a log of any symptoms that you have and things that change over time. You'll find that you'll do a lot one day, and then the next couple of days you'll be really tired. So it's that planning of your lifestyle. And the important thing is to keep a record of all your achievements. Log all your achievements, because over the years it does improve, it does get better, and there is life after encephalitis. So thanks everyone. It's been great talking with you today. Bye.
Bye.